Hey friends, how's it going? I just have a quick question for you. Are you someone who is feeling torn between choosing a major that feels safe and one that actually lights you up inside? If so, this reading might just reveal the field of study that matches your soul's deeper calling. So let's find out what your cards and your energy are trying to say about your path. Today's Pick a Card reading is all about answering the question, what should I major in? We'll get some insights on finding your ideal college or university major. Whether you're just starting out, switching paths, or looking for deeper clarity, this reading is designed to help you discover a field of study that truly aligns with who you are. If you would like to check out my podcast or my online shop where you can get your hands on any of these crystals that you see here today, I have them both linked for you in the description of this video. Now, if you are new to Pick a Card readings, here's how it works. The first thing that you're going to do here is you are going to pick the pile or the crystal that you are the most intuitively drawn to. So we have pile 1 here. So this one is Mookaite Jasper. Pile 2 here, we have a clear quartz mushroom. With pile 3 here, we have a Shungite witch's hat. And then for pile 4 here, we have a Picasso Jasper crystal. So you can choose one pile, you can choose more than one pile, or you can choose all of them. It is totally up to you. But when you're ready, go to the description of this video and find the timestamp that is linked to your pile so you can skip ahead to your reading all about answering the question, what should I major in? Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and I will see you on the inside, Tidal fam. Hey pile 1, hey friends, welcome to your reading all about what you should major in college or in university. So the first thing, let's first talk about what field of study aligns with you, right? So let's reveal the type of major that suits your strengths and your values and your deeper calling. So the first card that we have here is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So pile 1, this can feel like overwhelm. It can feel like imbalance. Sometimes this can feel like a sense of like overcommitment or a lack of focus. So I wonder if for some of you here, maybe you're feeling like you're struggling with juggling too many responsibilities or ideas or identities at once. So when this card shows up in reverse, it can talk about like trying to make a life decision when you're under pressure, right? Or when you're in some sort of like chaotic environment. So I don't know if you feel like you've been pulled between like a safe and practical path and one that feels a lot more expressive and soulful and unconventional. So maybe some of you here are feeling like there's difficulty in focusing on one task or on one subject long enough in order to master it because you want to learn everything. Or, you know, maybe you're not being given permission internally or externally to choose something that truly lights you up, right? Maybe some of you here have like parents that, you know, like are trying to have a say in what you major in, right? Or maybe like some of you here just have a lot of like heavy external influences. But either way, this card reminds you to give yourself permission to choose something that truly lights you up, right? So maybe some of you here need a field that allows for integration and not just compartmentalization, right? Something that lets you be both creative and thoughtful, right? Grounded yet expressive. So maybe some of you here want to avoid majors that feel overly rigid or like narrowly technical, right? So this is my pile that probably wants a little bit more freedom within structure. This is also Capricorn energy, so earth energy. Now we also have Mercury. This one says messages. And so with this one, Mercury represents things like communication, language, learning, thinking, expression, the intellect. And it's also the astrological ruler of Gemini and Virgo. If you want a little bit of a deeper dive on this, I have a podcast episode all about the planet of Mercury and how to understand, you know, your astrology, your signs, your birth chart in the easy way. So I have that linked for you in the description, or if you feel called, just look up That's Deep podcast by Naomi and you'll be able to find it. So I'm on all podcast platforms, but I want to say that most people find me on iTunes and Spotify, iHeartRadio. Some people have said Audible. I just feel like, okay, so Mercury, right? I have a Mercury in Aries, so I just go bam, 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 bam. But with Mercury, I feel like pile 1, you have a mind that is very quick. You have a mind that's very curious. You have a mind that's very flexible. I wonder if some of you here enjoy things like debate or storytelling or philosophy, right? Maybe you like media or psychology or even linguistics. There's a strong signal here toward being a communicator of insight, whether that's through speech or writing or media or teaching or coaching. Mercury also relates to technology and information systems, so maybe digital communication and new media platforms could also appeal to you. I just feel like pile 1, you are absolutely gifted with the clarity of mind, and you need a major where your voice and your perception matter. So maybe think about things like writing, interpreting, translating ideas, right? Because that's something that's likely a natural strength of yours. Let's talk about your strengths and your academic style, right? So what kind of learner are you? What do you naturally excel at? We have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse here. So with this one, it can feel like misalignment. It can feel like burnout. It can feel like perfectionism or questioning the value of your efforts. So maybe some of you here are feeling like you want to resist repetitive, soulless work, right? You need to know that your effort means something. I feel like you're likely very detail oriented, but you're not obsessive, right? And so you may lose interest if that work feels monotonous or disconnected from purpose. For example, I have a friend that works in real estate, and she works on a team with someone, and her teammate has tasked this brilliant woman too. This woman's like highly educated, like has multiple degrees and all of that, but she has tasked her to, I guess, assemble furniture and like put together furniture and like read manuals. And it is so, my friend said it is so mind numbing. It feels monotonous and very disconnected from purpose, right? Yeah, with the 8 of Pentacles in reverse here, I feel like you have this beautiful natural set of talents that come very authentically to you, but maybe you feel like it's tough to stick to a curriculum unless it feels meaningful, right? Especially as it has to do with feeling meaningful to your soul. So I wonder if some of you here feel like you're going through a creative block, or, you know, maybe you have an inner critic that's stopping you from committing to a craft or a subject. I just feel like you thrive when you're learning through doing, but only when that doing has depth. So you definitely need a course of study that emphasizes things like craftsmanship, things like purpose, right? Not just grades and job prospects. So I think that traditional academic systems might not fully suit you unless they allow flexibility and creativity in real world application. And this is Earth energy. Again, this is Virgo energy. So we also have get grounded. This one says empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Ooh, okay. I had a feeling, pile 1, you're likely an intuitive or even like a kinesthetic learner, someone who learns best when emotionally and physically engaged. So I do feel like this is my pile that probably absorbs the emotions and the energy of people or the environments around you, right? So maybe settings like small class sizes or programs that are like nature-based, or, you know, having like soulful communities will help you thrive. So I remember, like, so I consider myself to be an empath, highly sensitive, right? And also an introvert. And I remember when I went to a pretty like big university in my state, a big state school, and I love it, by the way. But oh my gosh, when I had to take like chemistry in a lecture hall full of like 500 or like 1,000 people, I don't know what it was, but I was like, how can I learn? I can't. All the energy, it was just way too much. I was so distracted and I thought something was wrong with me. It's like, no. Empath, highly sensitive, wasn't grounded, didn't know I was an empath. So maybe some of you are like that too. I just feel like pile 1, you're very spiritually attuned, and I feel like you likely seek subjects that address the deeper why behind human behavior or life patterns. So I really don't feel like you are meant to be in some sort of like sterile academic space. I feel like you do best in programs that honor emotion and connection and embodiment. So, you know, right away I'm thinking like psychology or healing arts or environmental studies or, you know, expressive arts, the arts in any way. Let's go further with some suggested majors or areas of study. So we have the Fool in reverse here. With the Fool in reverse, this can feel like a fear of change. It can feel like hesitation. It can feel like self-doubt. It can feel like, you know, maybe blocked new beginnings. So maybe some of you here might feel unsure of your path because you're meant to forge a non-traditional or an unmapped one. So when this card shows up in reverse, it often can talk about someone who has this very deep inner longing for freedom and for originality, but maybe there's somebody who's been conditioned to fear failure or instability or judgment, right? So there may be this internalized pressure to get it right rather than to try it out. So you are being invited to trust your own rhythm, not the expected timeline, right? So you're not here to follow the herd. You might feel pulled to blaze your own trail, even if it feels risky. So pile 1, look for majors that allow freedom, exploration, risk-taking, and inner discovery. I think that maybe even interdisciplinary programs might work well for you. This is air energy, so this is Uranus energy. So rebellious, like marching to the beat of your own drum vibes. Now we also have warrior. This one says be fearless and stand strong. So with this, first of all, I don't know if any of you here have indigenous ties to being Maori or indigenous ties to Aotearoa or New Zealand, but we do have a Maori warrior here. So maybe some of you here in this pile do have connections to New Zealand. I wonder for some of you here if you are even drawn to go to school or to study or some sort of tie to New Zealand. But anyway, I'm gonna back up off of that because just in case you don't have any sort of tie to this, the message here is that you are meant to speak out. You're meant to defend. You are meant to guide others, pile 1. So your ideal major is going to be one that helps you stand out for a cause, right? So it helps you empower others or speak truth to power. So for example, I went to school in the education realm. That's where I got all my degrees in. And now that I'm an entrepreneur, I'm like, okay, you know, when I first started to work for myself and like not do that anymore, not be in that field, I was like, man, was it all a waste? Was that all in vain? Was all that schoolwork and study all in vain? It's like, it wasn't, because it taught me how to advocate for other people, taught me how to speak up for other people, to defend, to guide other people. And that's a lot of what I do here, right? So much of what I do here. So I just feel like your energy, pile 1, it resonates with activism, it resonates with psychology, media, law, social work, coaching, teaching, healing, anything that really does channel your bravery into service. You have a soul level calling to make change or to amplify truth. So choose a major where you get to explore ethics or society or humanity or justice or healing or consciousness in some way. Now, let's talk about where this path could lead you, right? So let's talk about career potentials or types of impact that you could be making by following these different, areas of study. So we have the 3 of Wands in reverse here. This could represent things like unrealized potential or maybe feeling limited in your expansion. So again, I don't know if you feel like whatever path you're on right now is not offering you the growth or the global reach that you had, once hoped for. Maybe you feel like there's delays or obstacles or a sense of being stuck despite all the effort that you've put in. And it's not the path that has no value. It might just feel narrower than expected, right? So there is a need for reassessment here. Maybe you're going to feel like called to either pivot or reevaluate your direction. So maybe your original vision could shift over time, or that what looked good on paper doesn't really fulfill you in practice. So it's like, it's okay to edit and keep practicing and keep kind of testing things out, right? It's almost like going into like a fragrance store, or like to go in and buy perfume, and right, you gotta like get the little like tester paper and like test out all the samples and things, right? You gotta like get a feel for what it's worth. So yeah, also I feel like this card can talk about focusing too much on external success, or like waiting for the perfect opportunity instead of taking action steps now. I wonder if your true impact will come when you trust your instincts and when you create your own momentum. So I definitely think that you could become a voice for reevaluating systems, right? Helping other people pivot or rethink their paths, right? Again, career coach, counselor, maybe even like a systems analyst, maybe being a behind the scenes strategist or a project planner, especially in roles where others might benefit from your foresight, even if you don't get the spotlight. Maybe that could be something. Another thing too could be like entrepreneurship with a twist, right? Like starting something small and locally rooted that grows once you realign your vision. Again, I'm feeling a ton of energy around being like an educator or a mentor, particularly for those who feel lost or stuck or discouraged. So ask yourself, pal one, am I pursuing this path because it feels aligned or because I think I should? right? Because there is nothing wrong with adjusting course or redefining success. And I think that your impact might be quieter and more personal and deeply transformational, rather than it needing to be like very broad or like very public, right? We also have Perthrow, and so this is the rune of mystery, fate, and intuition, right? So it represents things like the unknown, divination, luck, potential, sacred mystery. So pile 1, you might end up in a soul-driven career that you can't fully imagine. So this rune signals hidden gifts, perhaps like a psychic ability or intuitive intelligence or healing talents that will awaken over time. You may feel like maybe you want to combine like your spiritual insight with practical skills. So maybe you want to be like a holistic therapist or an intuitive coach or a spiritual writer or an educator. I just feel like your career isn't meant to be predictable. And if you go ahead and trust in the unknown, you'll find yourself doing meaningful, aligned work that helps others navigate change and awaken their truth, pile 1. Okay, so let's talk about some overall ideas for what to major in. By the way, I'm just going to start rattling things off. If you don't hear what you want to do on this list, just know this list is not exhaustive. Please, 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 please follow your heart. Follow your gut, follow what truly lights you up, because only you know what is best for you. But I just love to give you a bunch of ideas to play with. So if you're interested in areas like communication and expression, especially with this Mercury energy here, a couple majors that you might be interested in could be communications, journalism, media studies, creative writing, maybe even speech pathology or linguistics. If you are interested in more of the empathic healing professions, maybe things like psychology, right? Maybe transpersonal counseling, maybe even expressive arts therapy, social work, holistic healing, holistic health, integrative wellness, occupational therapy. Keep in mind, these might sound different with different degree programs in different schools. If you're more interested in like the nature-based or spiritually grounded types of things, environmental studies, eco-psychology, sustainability studies, anthropology, cultural studies, religious studies, comparative mysticism, right? That's very specific. For those of you who are interested in things like advocacy, things like social impact, peace and conflict studies, sociology, gender and sexuality studies, law and social justice, education. If you are interested in creative or interdisciplinary studies, I've taken an IS course, design thinking, theater or performance studies, things like digital storytelling or, news media, those types of things. Yes, let's also roll some astro dice to get more info on what pile 1 should major in. So we have South Node in Capricorn. I love that we had Capricorn energy earlier too, so double confirmation of Capricorn energy. So South Node in Capricorn in the 7th house. I feel like you're moving away from people-pleasing status-based choices and overly structured partnerships, and I feel like your growth lies in the North Node in Cancer in the 1st house, so things like developing emotional intelligence, self-trust, and independence. So I think that with this, some ideal majors for you could be, again, psychology, counseling, anything to do with emotional awareness and healing, things like nursing, things like holistic health, any sort of nurturing role, maybe even early childhood education, things that have like a caring and developmental focus, art therapy, creative writing, anything to do with emotional expression, or entrepreneurship, right? Building your own path. So pile 1, it's time for you to pick something that feels personally meaningful, emotionally fulfilling, and helps you define yourself in your own terms. So thank you so much, pile 1. I hope that this reading was super fun for you. Please give it a like if it resonates. Please comment below with what pile you chose. You know that I love to chat with you all in the comments. You all are my spiritual besties. I always say that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. Take care of yourself. If you feel called to check out my personal development and spirituality podcast or my online shop, check that out in the description. If you feel called to check out my channel, Tidal Tarot, I've got a bunch of other pick a card readings here for you to explore. And yes, thank you so much, friends. I appreciate all of your love and support. You know I love to kiki with you all online. So thank you. And if I don't see you on the next video, I will see you next time. Bye, friends. Bye, loves. Sending you lots of love. See you next time. Hey, pile 2. Hey, friends. Welcome to your reading all about answering the question, what should I major in? So let's talk about what field of study aligns with you. Okay, so let's reveal the type of major that suits your strengths, your values, and your deeper calling. So the first card that we have here is the Two of Sticks, and this is the Two of Wands. So this is all about expansion and planning and vision and new opportunities and bold decisions. I love how they're like looking at a map right now. They've got a compass out and it looks like they're about to chart some new territory or like explore a new destination. This has everything to do with the element of fire. This is Aries energy. So the Two of Wands can talk about somebody being at a crossroads. So maybe some of you here want to expand or explore new opportunities. Maybe you have a deep desire for growth and you're considering different paths. I feel like many of you here are driven by a vision of something bigger, and you'll likely feel ready to step out of your comfort zone and make significant decisions about your future. So there is a bold, adventurous spirit here, signaling a major shift in either your academic or your professional journey, or both. And I think that a lot of you here are going to feel compelled to study something that's very forward-thinking or globally relevant, that offers you a chance to travel and explore and create something very, very innovative and creative. So this energy is best suited for fields of study that encourage innovation, creativity, exploration. Maybe you want to do things like international relations or global studies. Maybe you want to major in business entrepreneurship or environmental science if you're looking to, create a sustainable future. Maybe things like technology or design could also align with this energy too. We also have debilitated. This one says discomfort. So I wonder if there's any sort of discomfort or inner tension related to stepping into your true potential. I wonder if this can talk about struggles with self-confidence or a fear of failure when it comes to committing to a path. This energy calls you to acknowledge your discomfort and to push through it, using the tension to fuel your personal growth. You might be drawn to fields that transform or challenge the status quo or involve healing in some way. Maybe you all would be really good at majoring in psychology, therapy, things like the healing arts could be a fit if you feel called to help others navigate their own inner discomfort. But on the other hand, I do feel like entrepreneurship or sociology could be worth considering, because these fields allow you to embrace discomfort and create change in transformative ways. Now let's talk about your strengths and your academic style. What kind of learner are you? What do you naturally excel at? We have the Devil in reverse here, and this one says Carlsbad Caverns National Park. So this can represent things like liberation, like breaking free from chains, transformation, maybe even overcoming addictions. This is Earth energy. This is Capricorn energy. So this card could talk about someone who has an incredible capacity to free themselves from restrictions, whether it's societal expectations or fears or even internal doubts. You're definitely somebody who resists conventional paths, and you're someone who seeks a more authentic, self-liberating journey. So I feel like pile 2, you are a transformational learner. You're somebody who doesn't simply follow rules, but needs to break free from traditional methods of learning or structured environments that feel oppressive. And you may also thrive in situations that involve personal growth, self-discovery, and overcoming challenges. So I wonder if some of you here would prefer hands-on learning or real-world application where you can break down old paradigms and create innovative solutions. I think that majors that include both intellectual stimulation and personal development would suit you. We have Minticon here, and this one says longing for home, belonging, and original light workers. You guys are giving me mermaid vibes. Sorry, that's just so random, but like for those of you who resonate, if you know, you know. Mermaid babes for life. But with this, it can represent, you being a starseed. Chat GPT that baby, if you're not too sure what a starseed is or what it means to be a starseed. But I feel like this represents spiritual growth for you, healing, intuitive knowing. Minticon energy is deeply spiritual. So it represents those who feel a sense of longing or yearning for something greater. It's definitely this desire to make the world better, often with this healing or intuitive approach. Maybe you're drawn to some sort of spiritual or service-oriented field. Maybe you feel a strong connection to higher wisdom, or, maybe you feel a need to help others. Maybe your strength lies in nurturing or teaching or healing, and You know, maybe you possess a natural gift for connecting deeply with other people's needs, especially on an emotional or a spiritual level. And in terms of like academic style, I feel like you're a very deep intuitive learner who seeks subjects that allow for growth on all levels. So emotional, intellectual, spiritual. So Pile 2, you need a major that allows you to tap into this innate wisdom and offers personal meaning. So I'm thinking things like psychology, philosophy, spiritual studies, or even social work could be ideal. Let's keep talking about more suggested majors or areas of study. So we do have the 5 of Sticks in reverse here. This is the 5 of Wands in reverse. So this can represent things like avoiding conflict or internal struggle or finding peace or reducing competition. So maybe this is my pile that like doesn't feel like they thrive in highly competitive or chaotic environments. Like maybe you need some sort of academic path that reduces conflict and that offers collaborative spaces. I feel like this is my pile, especially if you're a star seed, a light worker, an empath. I really do feel like you'd be drained by like stress or aggressive competition. And instead, I feel like you would desire an environment that offers you some sort of peaceful problem solving. So this is a call to find fields where you can work with others toward a shared goal rather than constantly fighting for dominance. Majors that align with teamwork, mediation, and collaboration might resonate with you, Pile 2. So maybe things like conflict resolution or team-based design, counseling, public health, sociology, right? These all allow you to avoid excessive confrontation while still being of service. We also have Stargazer. This one says set your sights higher. So to me, this represents things like ambition, vision, being future focused, having limitless possibilities. I feel like this is your reminder to dream big and consider expansive possibilities for your future, Pile 2. You are somebody who is drawn to visionary fields or progressive careers that really do shape the future. So I do think that you are encouraged to aim higher than what's immediately in front of you. Trust that the right opportunities will unfold. This is your call to explore higher education paths that really do stretch your imagination and provide room for growth and inspiration and, exploration. I love that we were talking about exploration with the 2 of Wands earlier. So I do think that majors that fit with this include things like astrology, astronomy, physics, futurism, even entrepreneurship if you're looking to create something new and visionary. Some of you here might also resonate with environmental studies or sustainability, because I feel like these majors are the things that will allow you to shape the future in a way that aligns with your values. So let's talk about where this path could lead you, right? Any sort of career potentials or types of impact that you could make by following this career. We have the 10 of Blades in reverse. This one is the 10 of Swords in reverse. So to me, this means things like recovery, renewal, overcoming difficult things, new beginnings. So the 10 of Swords reverse can talk about you having this like academic and career journey that's going to involve healing and personal renewal. So this is my pile that's probably gone through a lot of past challenges, but this card suggests that you're recovering and you're moving towards some sort of fresh start. I think that your career could involve helping others heal or guiding people through transformation or paving the way for new opportunities after endings. This card signals that you are equipped to move past adversity and to create new possibilities. So Pile 2, maybe you find yourself in roles that involve healing or renewal or recovery or starting fresh. Maybe fields like therapy, counseling, addiction counseling, coaching, entrepreneurship, self-help, mental health, anywhere where you can let those empathetic skills shine. We also have Uruz. This is a rune that symbolizes things like strength, endurance, vitality, physicality, and empowerment. So this is the rune of personal power. This talks about that. This represents that your career could lead you to work that empowers others and involves strength, whether this is through your physical work or your emotional support or doing things like creating enduring structures. So you could be drawn to fields that require resilience, like athletic training or personal development or leadership roles. This energy could also suggest a career path where you are constantly evolving, right? Pushing your own boundaries and really empowering other people to do the same. I think that maybe some of you here would want to consider physical therapy or leadership training or coaching or energy healing. let's go over more overall ideas of what to major in. Remember, this list is not exhaustive. If you don't hear the area that you want to major in on this list, please follow your gut, follow your heart. I always like to say that you know what is truly best for you, but I like to just spit out a bunch of ideas so that, not spit out, but like just roll off a bunch of ideas so that we can have things to play with, like ideas. So if you're interested in psychology, maybe some of you here want to major in clinical psychology, psychiatric social work, child and adolescent psychology, forensic psychology, neuropsychology. For those of you who are interested in entrepreneurship, maybe you want to major in sustainable business, right? Creating eco-friendly and sustainable businesses. Maybe even tech startups, social entrepreneurship, right? Launching ventures that address social issues. Creative media, starting a business in digital media or content creation. For all you YouTubers out there, let's go. Maybe e-commerce, right? Building some sort of online retail or product-based business. For those of you who want to work in sociology or social work, maybe community social work, policy advocacy, school social work, criminal justice social work, nonprofit management, right? Leading or working in social service organizations. I also feel big time with especially with the 5 of Sticks in reverse here, 5 of Wands in reverse, mediation and negotiation, peace studies, corporate conflict resolution, family mediation, restorative justice. For those of you who are interested in environmental studies, environmental policy, wildlife conservation, climate change research, sustainable agriculture, renewable energy engineering. Okay, and then for those of you who are interested in doing astrology or astronomy, so again, astrology, astronomy, astrobiology, planetary science, space exploration. So I want to roll some astro dice. Let's get more information on what pile 2 should major in. We have the South Node in Capricorn in the 3rd house. So with the South Node in Capricorn in the 3rd house, pile 2, I feel like the best majors for you would be psychology, social work, education, cultural anthropology, philosophy, creative writing, public health, maybe even religious or spiritual studies. Basically anything that nurtures others and expands your worldview and feeds your heart and not just your resume. Right, pile 2? So thank you so much. I hope you had fun with this. Pile 2, please give this video a big thumbs up if it resonates. Comment below with what pile you chose or what came up for you. I love to chat with you all in my comments. Thank you so much, spiritual besties. Take care of yourself. I do hope to see you on the next reading after this. If you feel called, check out my channel, Tidal Tarot. I've got a bunch of other pick a card readings for you to explore on there. And also, if you feel called to check out my spirituality and personal development podcast or my online shop, I have that linked for you below in the description. So sending you lots of love, pile 2, and I will see you next time, Tidal fam. Bye. Love y'all. Hey, pile 3. Hey, friends. Welcome to your reading all about what you should major in. Let's talk about what field of study aligns with you. Let's reveal the type of major that suits your strengths and your values and your deeper calling. So we have Death reversed here. And so with this, it can represent things like endings and rebirth, but when the cards reverse, it can talk about having like a resistance to change or a fear of transformation. So in a field of study, I wonder if some of you have a natural attraction to helping people or yourself work through periods of transition, whether physical or emotional or societal. I feel like you might excel in subjects that focus on healing, personal development, or psychological understanding of transformation. So some example majors here could be psychology, right? So you could study therapeutic methods that help people to work through life's challenges, especially as it has to do with loss or transition or personal growth. Another thing here is maybe some of you want to get into psychology or being a counselor, right? Where you can work with individuals who are struggling with major life changes, whether this is divorce or career shifts or health problems. I do think that you would be a valuable guide through any sort of emotional healing process. Now, another thing that's coming up here very strongly, pile 3, is social work. So I feel like this is another major where you can help people cope with transitions, and it's a place that you can focus on community level healing and social justice. So I really do feel like you could work in environments where you're assisting vulnerable populations who are undergoing transformative circumstances, right? So maybe some of you here feel drawn to work with people who are houseless, or people who are in addiction recovery, right? So some of you here could work in nonprofits or governmental agencies who are focused on helping individuals or families going through challenging situations. You know, maybe some of you here want to work with people who have been through, you know, things like houselessness, those things. Now we also have Aries. This one says act. This represents things like action, leadership, assertiveness. With the Aries energy here, I really do feel like you excel in environments that call for immediate action, things like decision making and taking charge. So this is definitely a major indicator that you would thrive in fields that allow you to lead or be at the forefront of innovative, action-driven projects. So some example majors here could be business management. So Aries energy is really a perfect fit for entrepreneurship, where you can either take charge of new projects or start your own venture. In business management, you would be tasked with overseeing operations or developing strategies or leading a team. In terms of a career path, maybe some of you here want to launch a startup or run a tech company or oversee a department in a corporation, right? Fields that require quick decision making and leadership. I also feel called to mention political science, right? So if you are drawn to influencing change in a more global or environmental sense, political science can help you to channel your Aries energy into policy making or activism or governance. Another career path example could be running for office, right? Running for public office, working for a political campaign, maybe even serving as an advisor to governmental organizations where you would push for reforms and initiatives. Now, let's talk about your strengths and your academic style. What kind of learner are you? What do you naturally excel at? And so we have the Hanged Muse. This is the Hanged Man. And so this card is all about perspective. It's all about patience. It's all about viewing the world from new angles. So you're definitely someone who excels in environments that require deep thought, patience, and an ability to see things differently. So you may be drawn to fields that involve abstract thought or critical questioning, or maybe even understanding the larger context of life. So some example majors here could be philosophy, right? So if you're interested in grappling with big questions about existence or morality or the human condition, philosophy could be an excellent fit. I feel like Pile 3, you'd be well suited to examining, you know, ethical dilemmas and interpreting classical texts and engaging in debates about the nature of reality. So as a career path, I feel like becoming a philosopher or an ethics consultant or a professor in a university where you can help others understand deep theoretical concepts could be something that's a draw to you. I'm also hearing art history, because the Hangman can talk about a love for seeing things in new ways. So I do feel like art history or some sort of like visual arts might attract you. Art allows you to interpret and express emotions and ideas and history from multiple perspectives. So maybe some sample career paths here could be like an art historian or a museum curator or a gallery owner, right? Where you would dive into the interpretation of art movements and cultural shifts over time. Now, we also have transformation. This one says things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. So with this one, I feel like you would thrive in environments that allow you for deep personal growth. Right? Understanding biological or psychological changes and working through processes of self-healing or societal transformation. So some example majors here could be biology, maybe genetics. I think since transformation often involves evolution and things like adaptation, maybe you'd be drawn to studying biological processes, genetics, maybe how organisms transform on a cellular level. So maybe, you know, a geneticist, a biotechnologist, working in medical research, focusing on areas like gene therapy or stem cell research. I also feel like some of you here might be drawn to holistic health or alternative medicine. So maybe anything that focuses on like natural healing, energy transformation, integrating the mind, body, and spirit. I feel like this could resonate with your desire for that transformation and helping others through deep personal change. So some of you here might be drawn to being an herbalist or an energy healer or a holistic health practitioner where you guide others through personal transformation using alternative healing methods. So let's talk about more suggested majors or areas of study. We have the 3 of Inspiration here. We have the 3 of Wands. Pile 3, wherever it is that you go, whatever it is that you do, you are going to always be expanding. And this expansion is going to create some sort of like ripple or domino effect for your highest and best good, especially as it has to do with your creativity. So I definitely think that pile 3, you're someone who thinks about the future. You're someone who strives to create something meaningful on a larger scale. And so this is an indicator that you would excel in fields that allow for long-term planning, visionary thinking, and exploration. I also feel like some example majors here could be international relations or global studies, right? So maybe you're someone who is drawn to international relations or global studies. Pile 3, maybe you're drawn to understanding global systems or diplomacy or how nations work together. This field will often involve looking to the future and finding solutions to things like global challenges. So I really do think that this would make it a good fit for someone with this 3 of Wands energy, just like you. In terms of like a career path, maybe some of you would be great at being a diplomat or an international business consultant or a policy advisor where you would help create cross-cultural solutions or shape the future of some sort of international relations. Now, another area that you might be drawn to, pile 3, is sustainable development or environmental science. So this is really all about looking to the future of the planet. It's about focusing on renewable resources and sustainable practices. So I really do feel like you would be great at creating long-term solutions to environmental issues, and you could really help the world evolve toward a greener future. So a couple different things you could focus on, maybe being an environmental consultant, maybe sustainable agriculture advocate, maybe even a renewable energy strategist. We also have spring. I think that this is funny that this comes on the heels of that, but spring, see your seeds grow. This looks like lavender here. Okay, so the spring as a season represents growth and renewal and seeing the results of hard work coming to fruition. So pile 3, you're definitely someone who thrives in environments where you can plant the seeds of an idea and watch it grow into something meaningful over time. So again, I think things like agriculture, environmental studies, right? So if you're drawn to the natural world, maybe you're drawn to the cycles of growth, or agriculture or environmental science would be a really good fit if you are. Maybe even like being an agricultural scientist or an environmental advocate or an urban planner that's focused on sustainable cities. Maybe some of you here want to get into education, right? Because education involves planting the seeds of knowledge and watching them grow in the minds of students. So I think that whether this is through teaching or educational leadership, this field aligns with the idea of nurturing and cultivating growth in other people. So maybe you want to be a teacher, curriculum developer, educational administrator, where you help guide the intellectual and personal growth of our future generations. So let's talk about where this path could lead you. Let's talk about any sort of career potential or types of impact that you could make by following any one of the areas of study that we mentioned earlier. So we have the 9 of Voices in reverse. This one is the 9 of Swords in reverse. So I definitely think that you're going to be healing from anxiety. You're going to be overcoming mental challenges. I think that pursuing a path where you work on personal or societal healing could be very deeply fulfilling. So maybe you're likely drawn to fields that help you or others heal from trauma or anxiety or fear. So some example careers here could be psychology, right? Psychiatry or counseling, right? Maybe you want to pursue a career in mental health where you help other people through their struggles with anxiety or depression or trauma. I feel like you would be particularly suited to therapies that would help people grow and kind of overcome fears or past experiences that would block their personal growth. So anything from being like a clinical psychologist or a therapist or like a trauma counselor, I just feel like you would be a really good guide. And speaking on that, I also feel like either holistic healing or life coaching could be something. So I feel like you could guide others through their personal challenges. You could help them face fears or find clarity and create healthier mindsets and lifestyles. I really do think that some of you here would be great life coaches or energy healers or, meditation instructors. Now, we also have Hagalas. So Hagalas typically represents things like disruption, things like transformation, which I love because that's what the Death card represents. And this is a powerful energy that is associated with breaking down the old to make room for the new, right? And sometimes this is through turbulent means. So I wonder if a career path tied to Hagalas means that you're going to be involved in some sort of role that has reform or rebuilding or leading during times of upheaval. So maybe you're going to be diving into social justice or activism, right? So maybe you feel drawn to causes that aim to disrupt unjust systems or rebuild societal structures. Fields like human rights, civil rights law, or advocacy for people who are in marginalized groups would really align with this energy, right? So maybe you would be like a social justice lawyer or an activist or a public policy advisor advocating for systemic change. I'm also feeling too like disaster relief or crisis management. So I definitely think that working in fields like disaster relief or humanitarian aid or crisis management could be a natural fit. You would definitely be helping to rebuild after traumatic events or, societal collapse. So maybe some of you here would be great at being some sort of disaster relief coordinator or humanitarian aid worker or crisis management consultant. So let's talk about a overall list of what to major in, right? Let's get some ideas to play around with. If you don't hear what you want to do or what you love in this list, please remember this is not exhaustive. I just like to throw out a bunch of ideas so you guys can start playing with things. So with all of this, pile 3, I'm thinking about psychology, right? Either clinical or counseling, business management, entrepreneurship, social work, philosophy, international relations, environmental science, sustainable development, art history, again, genetics or biology, maybe medical research, things like holistic health or alternative medicine, education, political science or law, social justice, again, things like disaster relief or crisis management. I just think that all of these majors align with your strengths in leadership and transformation and healing and envisioning new possibilities. So let's roll some astro dice to get more info on what you should major in. Pile 3. So we have Venus in Pisces in the 10th house. So with Venus in Pisces in the 10th house, I feel like you might be drawn to majors that blend creativity and empathy and a desire for meaningful work. So pile 3, you might want to consider fields like art or design, right? So like visual arts, graphic design, fashion, maybe even things like music or performing arts. So music, theater, dance, again, things like psychology or counseling, helping professions like we spoke about a lot through this reading. Again, social work or nonprofit management, things like being in a community focused role. And then something that we didn't talk about, maybe like a marketing or public relations role, right? So some sort of creative communication and brand building. I just think that it's anything that would align with your desire for emotional connection and aesthetic beauty in your career as well. So thank you so much, pile 3. I hope this reading was fun for you. Please give it a like if it resonates. Please comment below with what pile you chose or what came up for you. I love to connect with you all in the comments. You guys know you're my spiritual besties. Thank you so much. If you do feel called to check out my spirituality and personal development podcast, I do have that linked for you in the description, as well as my online shop where you can get your hands on any of these crystals that you see here today. If you feel called to check out my channel, Tidal Tarot, I've got a bunch of other pick a card readings for you to explore from a bunch of different categories. So yes, thank you so much, friends. I appreciate and love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye, Tidal Tribe. Hey, pile 4. Hey, friends. Welcome to your reading all about what you should major in. So let's talk about what field of study aligns with you. Let's reveal the type of major that suits your strengths and your values and your deeper calling. We have the Knight of Teacups here, which is the Knight of Cups. So I wonder if some of you here feel like you are on a quest for emotional fulfillment or imagination or creativity. This card can talk about someone who is sensitive or artistic or driven by passion. And maybe pile 4, you are a seeker of beauty and emotional connection, and you're someone who may naturally lean toward creative or healing professions. So, maybe some of you here feel drawn to fields that allow for self-expression or that offer emotional support to others. So some examples of fields here could be like fine arts or creative writing. So majoring in fine arts, whether this is visual or performing, I feel like this is going to allow you to channel your creativity. I also think that therapy or counseling could be a thing for you. So maybe a major in psychology or art therapy could offer you the ability to nurture others emotionally, and maybe you could work as a counselor or a therapist, someone who offers a safe space for others to express their feelings. We also have nurture, which is really beautiful here that this comes on the heels of what we spoke about with the Knight of Cups. So Ceres, the embodiment of nurturing and care and support. This is the kind of energy that invites you to pursue a career where you can help others grow, whether that's through providing emotional care or nourishment or education. I just feel like you're naturally drawn to roles that involve caretaking or teaching or supporting the personal development of others. So I wonder if for some of you here, you would do great in social work, right? So social work, human services, where you can provide both emotional and physical support to vulnerable populations. I also think that nursing or healthcare could be a really great field for you, Pal 4. Fields like nursing, public health, anything that would allow you to care for others and provide them with nourishment and protection. I also feel like early childhood education could be something. So teaching young children involves nurturing their development and making it a great fit for someone who is influenced by Ceres energy, right? So let's talk about your strengths and your academic style, right? So what kind of learner are you? What do you naturally excel at? We have the 3 of Teacups in reverse here. With the 3 of Cups in reverse, this can point to a sense of emotional disconnect or maybe even a tendency to feel isolated, particularly in large groups or traditional social settings. So as a learner, maybe you prefer a more individualistic approach to your studies rather than engaging in big group activities. I know that's how I was. This card can also talk about maybe not feeling like you thrive in highly competitive or social environments, and maybe you feel like you excel when you can focus on your individual strengths in a quieter, more supportive space. I feel that you might find that you do better in online courses or independent research projects or smaller class sizes where you can work at your own pace rather than in large lecture halls or group projects. Now we also have no. This one says wait, postpone, pause, and say no. So I feel like this card reminds us to take our time to reflect carefully on our choices, and it can suggest a cautious approach in both decision making and academic pursuits. So you may want to delay a major decision until you feel fully confident in your choice, right? So for example, maybe this energy could play out by advising you to take a gap year, right? And engaging in internships or pursuing volunteer work to gain clarity on your academic and your career path before you commit to a specific major. So I think that this just reminds us to be thoughtful about our long-term goals and to take time to truly understand your interests. So let's continue on with some suggested majors or areas of study. We have the Hierophant here, and so with this, it represents things like tradition, institutions, and wisdom passed down through systems that are established. So I feel like this could talk about a structured academic path that would suit you well, you know, one where you could both learn from mentors and potentially pass this knowledge on to others. So a couple different majors here. Maybe this is education, right? Whether this is through elementary, secondary, special education. The Hierophant can talk about a role in teaching where you can either guide or mentor others, and this would suit you well. So in this field, I feel like you could take on a role as a mentor and you could offer wisdom to students and you could really help them to learn. Another thing here is law. So if you major in law, I feel like this aligns with the Hierophant structure and authority. Becoming a lawyer or a judge would allow you to work within established systems and create justice and uphold ethical standards. So another thing here too is theology. So the Hierophant is also associated with religious traditions. So if you feel a calling towards spirituality or theology or religious studies, maybe that could be your path where you explore religious teachings and guide others through mentorship or leadership roles in religious organizations. We also have Spirit Fox. This one says, trust your talents in changing times. So with this, it represents things like adaptability, cleverness, and an ability to thrive in changing circumstances. So this can suggest a field where you can apply your resourcefulness and creativity in uncertain and dynamic environments. So a couple different majors here, maybe psychology, right? So with your emotional sensitivity and your adaptability, psychology might be an excellent fit. You could focus on things like counseling or therapy, anything that has to do with helping people navigate complex emotions and life changes. Another thing here you could do is creative arts. So if you're inclined toward creative expression, maybe you want to major in art or design, anything that would allow you to explore new ways of communicating ideas and emotions while adapting to ever-changing trends in the art world. Another thing here too is business, right? So maybe even human resources. If you're drawn to the business world, a major in human resources could really be a great fit pal for. You could help organizations adapt to changing work environments and focusing on like employee well-being or organizational growth. So let's talk about where this path could lead you, right? What sort of career potentials or types of impact could you make by following whatever like area of study that you're drawn to? So we have the One of Teacups. This is the Ace of Cups, and this talks all about new emotional beginnings. It talks about creativity. It talks about the potential for deep emotional fulfillment. This card can suggest that your chosen path will lead you to a fulfilling career where you can connect with others on an emotional level and where you can use your creativity to bring positive change. So a couple different career paths here. Again, I'm thinking therapist or counselor. With the Ace of Cups, you might find a career where you help other people navigate emotional difficulties, such as in psychology or counseling or art therapy. That might be very rewarding to you. Another thing that's coming up here is artists. So if you pursue a creative path like painting or writing or filmmaking, the Ace of Cups could suggest that your work could resonate deeply with others and really actually offer a lot of emotional healing or kind of like a catharsis within them, you know? Now, another thing here too is I feel like you could be drawn to working in healthcare. So nursing, occupational therapy, public health, anything where you would provide care and emotional support and you would allow others to heal physically and emotionally might be something that you would be drawn to. We also have algaes. So with this one here, this is the rune of protection. It's the rune of spiritual guidance. It can talk about your career path involving guiding others through difficult times, right? Offering support like we spoke about earlier, protecting those who feel vulnerable. This rune can symbolize a role where you can mentor, maybe lead or protect others in a very supportive and nurturing way. So again, I'm thinking like social worker, right? Because this is something that allows you to guide vulnerable populations through challenges and provide protection and support. Another thing here that I think about is healthcare leadership. So maybe you take on a leadership role in healthcare, or you guide teams of caregivers or mentor young professionals in nursing or healthcare administration. Another thing here is maybe being a spiritual leader or a guide, right? So if you follow a path in spirituality, whether this is in religious leadership or wellness or coaching, I definitely feel like you could help others navigate personal crises and lead them to a place of emotional safety. So let's go over our final list of ideas to major in, just to start playing around with ideas. So again, I'm going to say psychology, and this is because of that emotional depth and creativity and that desire to connect with others on a personal level that you have. I feel like psychology would allow you to channel your empathy and creativity into helping others navigate their emotional landscapes. I also think, again, social work, because it aligns perfectly with a role where you can care for others and provide the emotional and practical support they need. I also think that this major allows you to work directly with people in need and offer guidance and nurturing at a personal level. Another thing here is art therapy. I feel like there's this emotional nature with that nurturing energy. So maybe you can use your creativity as a tool for healing, right? So you would guide people in expressing themselves through art to express and process their emotions and find healing. Again, I'm going to say education, right? Mentorship, teaching, guiding others through established traditions, nurturing young minds, right? Helping them grow intellectually and emotionally and providing a sense of fulfillment and purpose. I also think, again, fine arts, creative writing, artistic self-expression, fine arts, creative writing. I just think that this would all allow you to channel your creative energy into a fulfilling career. I think that these fields will let you bring beauty and emotional depth into a world while offering personal fulfillment. Another couple things here, maybe human resources, organizational development. Again, you have that adaptability and that resourcefulness. So I do think that HR could be a fitting major. Maybe you could help, again, companies, organizations navigate change, focus on employee well-being, maybe guiding people through difficult work environments or transitions. Again, I'm going to mention nursing, healthcare, philosophy, theology, maybe business, again, with a focus on human resources, public health, any sort of major that will help you to harness your natural strengths, which is creativity and emotional intelligence, nurturing energy and adaptability, and maybe like in a way where you can direct them towards careers that will allow you to make a meaningful difference in the lives of others while also fulfilling your personal calling. So let's roll some astro dice to get more information on what you should major in pile 4. Okay, so we have Mars in Scorpio in the 8th house. So with Mars and Scorpio in the 8th house, pile 4, I feel like you're drawn to deep, intense, transformative work. I think you would be really skilled in areas related to power or control or mystery or psychology. I definitely think that you thrive in environments that challenge you to explore the unknown and to transform yourself and others. So some of the best majors for you here, I think, are psychology, especially clinical or forensic. I also think that criminal justice or law could be something, medicine or nursing, maybe even sexuality studies, things like sociology, forensic science, maybe counseling or therapy or business, especially finance, investments, maybe even risk management. Anything that allows you to dive deep, right? Face the hidden aspects of life and transform situations or individuals. So I think it's time for you to choose a path that engages your drive for exploration and empowerment. So thank you so much, pile 4. I really hope that this was a fun reading for you. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and comment below with what came up for you. You know I want to know everything that came up for you in the comments. You guys are my spiritual besties, so I love to kiki with you all in the comments. And pile 4, I just wanted to say this. Just trust your gut, trust your heart, take a chance on what you truly love. I literally wish I could go back in time and tell my former college self that piece of advice, because when I was in college, I chose based on what was logical, what was reasonable, right? What was right for me according to other people's standards, when I should have just chosen what my heart truly wanted at first. But I still made it, right? I still made it here, still made it to my dream destination. It just took me a couple of detours because I was listening to everybody else but myself. So I just felt that on my heart to share with you, Tidal fam. Lots of love. Please trust your own discernment. You always know what is best for you. Take care of yourself. If you feel called to check out my personal development or spirituality podcast or my online shop where you can get your hands on any of the crystals that you see here today, I'll have that linked for you in the description. And if you feel called, check out my channel, Tidal Tarot. I've got a bunch of different pick a card readings for you to explore from a bunch of different categories. But if not this time, I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day or night, whenever it is that you are tuning into this reading. Love y'all, friends. Love you, Tidal Tarot fam. And I will see you later.